AOA podcast back for another episode. Frankie C's in the house. Big dog
in the house, experiencing all new technical difficulties tonight. Sorry, I'm not on camera.
You are the looks of the show, so we're going to have to suffer through this. It's going to be tough.
Yeah, I apologize to everybody who's watching what they have to endure.
We're going to have to endure a lot from Diddy. Allegations, new allegations coming in, disgusting allegations, probably the worst ones we've heard yet, and we've heard some pretty awful allegations. So we'll get into what we're expecting here for the Diddy cases. Now some lawsuits are really starting to file in. We're going to discuss the election, obviously, election 2024. Donald Trump pumping up the rhetoric. Lots of Donald Trump clips on this one. I wish I could share more Kamala Harris clips.
But she doesn't mess up as much.
It's not even mess up. She's not
ridiculous and childish and an asshole.
That's how you like to say it. I was going to say she doesn't talk as crazy.
Yeah.
And we'll look
like
at the
lunatic.
We'll look at the polls and everything else. There's a little update in Garth Brooks. Frankie C, do you know what Terrifier 3 is?
I do. I saw the first two.
Wow, you are a loser. I had no idea you were this pathetic. I'm shocked. I've never heard of Terrifier in my life. It's the #1 film in the country right now, and I'll share why. Plus, we'll mix in some other assorted topics and such. My friends, that's a podcast.
Why am I a loser?
I never heard of Terrifier a day in my life. It sounds like an awful...
Maybe you're the loser.
That is possible. Also, it is Columbus Day.
Don't walk in Columbus's shoes to see what he went through. People thought the world was flat, for crying out loud. Then he lands on an island with a bunch of naked savages on it. I mean, that took a lot of guts.
Yikes.
Remember when we went to Florida, the heat, and those bugs?
Well, like it took guts to murder people and put them in chains.
He was a victim of his time.
Who cares? It's what he did.
He discovered America is what he did. He was a brave Italian explorer. And in this house, Christopher Columbus is a hero. End of story.
That is just...
Jeez.
My favorite part about that is when he goes, remember how hot Florida was with the bugs?
Yeah. That was ridiculous. Yeah. Happy Indigenous Peoples Day, by the way.
Happy Columbus Day for those who are celebrating. Whatever that whole thing is. Anyway, let's go into the new Diddy allegations because these are pretty intense, Frankie C. This is big, huge.
Oh boy. Do we have we made a promise a while back. I don't know if it was a promise as much as it was we were going to try to do lighter topics.
Yeah. Well, I got the election, so.
God. Erection 2024, is that you did that on purpose, I hope?
Oh no. See. Now we lost another intern. Jesus, that's.
Did you do that on purpose? You didn't do that on purpose.
That makes us look unprofessional, doesn't it?
All right.
Erection 2024. My goodness.
Oh boy.
It is one big boner when you think about it.
Yeah, it's a hard one to call. But we'll see what comes of it.
It's been a stiff competition so far, you have to admit.
Oh boy. Let's see who gets ahead in the polls. All right,
listen. Diddy was hit with a new wave of lawsuits today. 6 people, including 4 men, one of whom was 16 when he was allegedly attacked. Yes. New cases, all filed anonymously by plaintiffs in the Manhattan federal court, described alleged brutal attacks by the 54-year-old music mogul between the years of 1995 and 2021. One man says in his suit that he was just 16 when he attended Combs' 2008 white party in the Hamptons, along with countless other celebrities and A-listers. The teen bumped into Combs and told him he was a fan and wanted to become a star. Combs responded to that young boy that he had the potential and had the quote unquote look, boasting that he could make anyone, including the plaintiff, into a star. According to the filing, the pair ended up in a secluded spot near some portable toilets where Combs abruptly told the teen to drop his pants, assuring him it was a rite of passage and the route to becoming a star. Don't you want to break into the business? Combs asked the boy, according to the court filings from earlier today. The scared teen acquiesced to Combs' sick request, and the rapper grabbed the young man by his area, feeling them before letting it go and telling him his people would get in touch. The interaction continues to humiliate and cause shame. According to the man in the court filings, he was afraid to say what happened to him because of Combs' power and notoriety. In another suit, a man was working as an advisor for the clothing brand Echo Clothing when he ran into Combs and 3 of his bodyguards inside a stockroom at Macy's flagship store in Herald Square in Manhattan in 2008, according to the suit. Combs was running his competing clothing brand Sean John at the time, the suit says. The victim was hit in the head, possibly with a gun, and knocked onto his hands and knees as the group made such threats as, "I'll kill you," according to the court papers. Combs hissed to the victim, "Suck my you-know-what," according to the lawsuit. The rap mogul then brutally, orally arred him for 2 minutes while grabbing his hair and saying, "You like that, white boy?" Afterwards, the Bad Boy Records founder threatened, "Shut up or I'll kill you," according to the filing claims. Combs then headed to the storeroom floor where he passed out merchandise to an adoring crowd as if nothing happened. The man reported the incident to Macy's security, but no one ever followed up with him, and he was barred from the Herald Square location in the future, according to the lawsuit. 3 weeks later, Macy's CEO Terry Lundgren pressured Echo executives to fire the plaintiff because Macy's had just signed a multi-million-dollar deal with Sean John Clothing. Echo did eventually fire the man, and he was kicked out of the apartment the company paid for, according to the filing. Could you imagine?
This is unbelievable.
This horrible thing happens to you, and then the Macy's CEO gets you fired from your company?
Yeah, it's unreal. I mean, there isn't enough jail time that this guy can serve.
Mm-hmm. According to the filing, to this day, the man still fears for his life. In another instance, one woman says in her suit that she was 19 years old and a college freshman in Brooklyn when she was invited to a photo shoot promoting the band. That's the group that Sean Combs' label had signed. The then teen attended with a female friend, also a freshman. The pair was later invited to Combs' hotel room for a more exclusive party, according to court documents. Once at Combs' hotel suite, the college students were whisked to another room by a security guard who locked them in before saying, "You know what you are here for." Combs soon came into the room, pushing drinks and cocaine on the women before ordering the pal to perform oral sex on him, ordering the pair to perform oral sex on him, or else he would have them both killed. He then forced himself on the plaintiff and fondled, molested, and ultimately arred her, all while she was begging him to stop. The friend slipped out of the room when the security guard opened the door, and the plaintiff was able to escape once Combs left the suite. I know this is tough. Yeah, we only got a few more to go. Again, what's weird is, unless we, bring these things to light, nobody's going to know about them. So hit the share button if you're disgusted by this behavior. Another plaintiff who worked for Royal Reigns Management says he was invited to one of Combs' party in October of 2021 in New York City, which was attended by several well-known artists. The man was offered ecstasy by one of Combs' associates, which he turned down. The man had a single drink, but the effects of the drink were immediate and overwhelming. As the man became disoriented, he tried to find a safe space before hearing a male voice say, "Hold on." The victim then remembers being in a bedroom and feeling paralyzed while multiple men began to assault him through sodomy and other forced acts. He distinctly recalls seeing Combs above him naked at one point during the assault. At least 3 men, he believed, arred him that night, according to the lawsuit. Ever since, the man has been forced to seek therapy for the trauma he now faces. The suit also includes a photo of a plastic device that Combs and his associates allegedly used to put the sedative GHB into the drinks. Another man who worked in private security for nightclubs and events was hired to work as a guard at Combs's East Hampton home during one of the rapper's infamous white parties in 2006. During that party, Combs targeted the plaintiff and provided him with 2 alcoholic drinks throughout the night, which the man believes were laced with GHB. The man felt extremely ill and leaned against his truck for support. At one point, outside of Combs's home, Combs came up to him and asked if he was okay. Combs then forced him into an open van, held him down while he struggled to escape due to the effects of the drugs in his system. In a horrific turn of events, Combs assaulted the plaintiffs, all while dismissing the plaintiffs' pleas for help, repeatedly saying, "You'll be all right."
Oh my god!
Isn't this the most horrible shit you've ever heard?
What the fuck? How is this? How did he get away with all this for so long?
The man struggled to leave the party because of the drugging, but eventually got out and reported what happened to his supervisor, the suit claims. The alleged attack left an emotional mark on him. Not a day goes by he doesn't think about the assault. He's never married and has had trouble in his relationships, according to the court filings. Another female victim was also assaulted by Combs at a June 1995 promo event for Biggie Smalls' music video One More Chance, at an event packed with high-profile guests. Combs asked to speak with the woman privately, guiding her into a bathroom where he started kissing her, the file claims. She asked the rapper to slow down, but instead Combs advanced aggressively, hitting her hard, slamming her head against the wall, causing her to fall down. She tried to get out, but he hit her again, then lifted her dress and arred her while she lay helplessly on the floor. He later told her, "You better not tell anyone about this or you will disappear." The woman was terrified, left the party, and has been scared ever since. You notice a theme here?
Yeah, he's a fucking monster. He just beats the shit out of people or drugs them or whatever he does to them, and then R's them, and then it's like, if you tell anybody, I'll kill you. That's the pattern, and it just doesn't. It's unbelievable.
Yeah. The plaintiffs are all seeking unspecified damages. Diddy's obviously in the detention center in Brooklyn right now. This is all from Tony Busby, who made that huge press conference the other day and said that these lawsuits would start to roll in, and they are. Representatives from Macy's have not returned multiple news outlets' requests for comment. They're not saying anything, but they are named in the filings and are going to have to answer for at least one of that one case for sure. I mean, and that's what Tony Busby warned us about, that it wasn't just people and celebrities and other people, it would be corporations too. And it looks like Macy's is the first. Macy's, Echo are the first ones that are going to be dragged into this from a corporation standpoint.
Yeah, it sounds like a lot of people, like the bodyguards, whoever was involved in this. There's got to be a number of people. I'm surprised that he's the only one behind bars at the moment. I mean, obviously he should be behind bars for the rest of his life, but there should be more people. How they haven't scooped up dozens more, already. I don't know what they're waiting for with that. Just keep scooping them up.
He should be behind those Jurassic Park bars. Those,
That if you touch them, they electrocute you.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
That's fine.
This is chilling shit. Not since like what's her name? Tina Turner and Ike Turner. Did you ever hear stuff so like open, out in the open and chilling and accepted, and and again, that was in the, what was that, in the 50s and 60s?
Something like that, 60s, 70s.
60s into the 70s, yeah, because he hit in the 50s, right? So 60s into the 70s, because 70s she suffered all through, and then in the 80s she had that huge comeback after she left him and went off on her own. But it's similar kind of vibes where just these horrific things are happening. People all around know about them, but nobody's saying anything because the person perpetrating them is, the lifeblood for a lot of these people, Yeah,
but it's amazing that all of these people just turned turned a blind eye to it. Like knew what was going on or looked the other way and were like, I'm not going to, how do you, it's just so insane that this went on for so long or at all.
Yeah, it's crazy to me too. I mean, because Frank, how hard it is to be talented and make it in any industry. Like, how could this be a part of somebody's DNA as well? Is so beyond me. Like, it's so hard to make a living as an artist. You know what I mean? It's like it takes so much time and effort to plow through all the layers of bullshit to just make it in the world.
Yeah, just to break through.
And then to add on all this other stuff on top that you have to cut. Like, I mean, I don't understand it. I don't know if it was part of the power trip for him or what it was, but it just seems very strange. And
Can't even pretend to get into his mind. There's no, there's no way to wrap your head around what his thought process was.
What's broken up there, right? I mean, we need a therapist in here to figure out that whole thing.
Exactly. I don't even want to think about how he can think that everything he was doing was okay.
Yeah, like I understand, not that I understand, but I understand the dynamic between Ike and Tina Turner, right? He saw that she was going to skyrocket past him. He's insecure. He sees this as a way to keep her under his thumb.
Right.
But Diddy just randomly seeking people out and bodyguards and men like the ball. Like, who's the guy? Terry Crews?
Yeah. What about him?
Remember during all the Me Too stuff, like Terry Crews came out and said, even I was like,
yeah, he was assaulted. Absolutely.
That always stuck out in my mind of who would have the balls to fucking take on that dude.
Right.
You know, like I understand, like women are not as strong or powerful as men. There are certain men that are not as strong and powerful as fucking Terry Crews looked like he was chiseled out of rock. Who's got the fucking balls to, like, I wouldn't want to look at that guy the wrong way. I think he would drop me with one fucking, but he's a football player too. He ain't just an actor. So he's got he's got some strength behind him, you know?
Yeah. I don't understand anybody's thought of I'm going to do this and it's okay. Yeah. So yeah. I don't get there's no connection there. Every time it boggles my mind of how they thought, yeah, I'm going to do this and it's just fine. I don't care what happens to the other, it's just so evil.
It's so, yeah.
It's evil,
The other day, 2 weeks ago, I took my kids to the movies. So I do the order ahead thing. And I order the popcorn and 2 candies and 2 sodas and everything like that. So I go to the counter. The guy's giving me all the stuff, and the candy you have to grab yourself. So there was 2 candies, and I said, "There's 2 candies." And he looks at the thing and he goes, "Oh, the gummy bears are right there." And I'm grabbing the gummy bears, and I grab the other candy. I forget what it was now. And I'm walking by, and I go, "Why did he only point out the one candy?" And it sits weird in my head. So we get in the car, we go see the movie, we get in the car, we're running around after the movie, got a bunch of things to do. I get home and I realize that when I went to go add the candy, I hit the one candy and I hit the other candy. And then when I hit the second candy, it didn't just add it switched. Like you had to select a candy, hit done, select another candy. And so I fucked it up. So I stole candy from AMC Cinemas in Stony Brook. I apologize. But I feel
piece of crap.
I still feel bad about it. And I'm like, next time I go back there, I'm like, is it awkward if I walk in there and go, "Hey, 2 weeks ago, I
think it'd be very nice if you did that.
It would be nice, right?
That's a good, honest thing to do.
Part of me feels like it's a good thing to do. I also feel like I hope I wasn't marked because I like to go to that place. I don't want to walk in there the next time and then they're like,
your picture everywhere, and
yeah.
They got security that throws you right out. I'm
in the back room with the lights on me and all this shit, and
Yeah, that's that's good.
Yeah,
but you didn't steal salads for years.
That's true. That's true.
It was an honest mistake, I guess, and so you should go back and I think that's a nice thing to do.
Or are we even because I've been overpaying for films for the last 35 years? I can't really tell.
I don't think that's how it works.
All right, I'm gonna leave it $6. I'm gonna go over there and leave $6 on the counter and just run away and hope it'll.
Or you can do that. Yeah, whatever you got to do. I don't think it'll make it into the AMC pocketbook. It'll probably make it into whoever's hands and as a tip or something. But
somebody will use it. Somebody will use it for good. I have a feeling.
Yeah, right. That's good.
Thanks to Fly and Y for gifting one membership. Join up now. Become a member of the old AOA podcast. Link in the description below. Next person will get a freebie. Thanks to Fly and Y, who's so generous with the memberships. This is so nice.
That's cool. Thank you, Fly and Y.
Yeah, you get behind the scenes exclusive material, which I just put up some stuff from over the weekend. Actually, very thrilling.
Oh,
yeah.
Look at you putting up stuff.
Did a little thing there. In fact, I got a lot of vacation coming up in December, and I was like, I'm gonna share some of that private vacation time with everybody in the members only area. So join up if you want to take part in some of that fun stuff that we get to do off the air here on the AOA podcast. That all goes down in the members only area. As I said, link in the description below. Frankie C, I know it's not your favorite topic. In fact, I feel I'm going to blame two people on the next topic. I'm going to blame you and Donald Trump. I'm going to put the two of you together where you belong.
Don't ever put us together on the same level.
Because I feel like I was level-headed, and I still feel like I'm level-headed. I still feel like I'm objective to a degree. I mean, I'll say what I think. I've certainly come down on both candidates. Feels like I'm coming down a lot more on one candidate than the other lately. But in the last,
go ahead. I'm sorry.
In the last couple of days alone, the amount of stuff that has come out of President Trump's face has been so batshit crazy. I can't really ignore it too much. And there's some things coming out of Kamala's mouth that I'd like to address. But here's the biggest thing bugging me with Kamala Harris. Why is she losing support among African-American males so much?
That's not anything that's nothing she said or did. That's just, she's losing support somehow. It's not like you can't say that she did that, with Trump, all the complaints are things that he did. With Kamala, your complaint is that she's not popular enough.
Well, no, it's not. It's not a complaint, but it's more like I don't know what she's doing to lose. Now, don't get me wrong. She still has like 75% of that vote. But every year since 2016, even in 2020 when he lost, he's been gaining in those areas. He's been gaining in the Latin areas. He's been gaining in the African American, especially the African American male demographics. It's perplexing to me to see some of these gains.
I'll put it out there. I will never understand how it's even this close. It should be 99-1, just based on the batshit stuff that he says, like constantly. Every time he opens his mouth, it's something crazy. It's something racist. It's something misogynist. It's something just out there ridiculous. And every time he gets on camera, it's always negative. I can't point to positivity with him. It's always negative. It's always him playing the victim. It's always, they're coming to get me. And they're doing everything they can, and I've never seen this happen before. Yeah, you've never seen a president get prosecuted so much because the president has never been this big of a criminal. So that's why this has never happened in the history of this country. Yeah, it hasn't, because we've never had someone like you trying to become president again. And this is why I don't understand. Like, you have Kamala Harris, who has this, stellar resume, and has these plans for her presidency. And then you have batshit crazy Donald Trump, who did nothing in his 4 years except fuck up a pandemic and give tax breaks to his billionaire friends. And then he wants to go back and do it again. And he keeps complaining about migrants that's his only play in his playbook. And it's not even, and he's exaggerating it. And he's also dehumanizing people. And it just doesn't stop. I could sit here for hours and just go off on just bullet point every batshit thing. And it won't make a difference, because at the end of the day, the people who support him, number one, can't admit that they're wrong. Anybody who supports him is digging their heels in so hard that when you point out to them, hey, you're okay with this? You're okay with this? They go, oh, they'll twist and turn. I saw that today. There was an interview. I think I'm kicking myself for not remembering who it was. It was on a news channel, and I can't remember who was being interviewed or given an interview. And they were saying that they're just going to. It was on the LBC. You know that London. I forget what it stands for. LBC. And it's someone was saying that when you point that stuff to them, they just twist and turn so that it justifies it somehow. Like they'll twist themselves into a pretzel to make it so that it's okay when he does these things. You know, he'll say something abhorrent and just ridiculous and divisive and terrible, but when you present that fact to a Trump supporter, the hardcore ones, they go, oh, well, that's just him being crazy, just being
But he gets a pass.
guy, and
he gets a pass. He gets the
pass
of all time because they just know he's crazy.
Yeah, I mean,
we've accepted it across the board.
I don't get it though. It's like how could this be acceptable behavior for anyone, let alone someone who wants to run the country? For anyone, I wouldn't want this guy running a small business. This is a nut that just everything he says is bad shit.
Well, I'm going to get to all the things I want to play, but before we get off of her for a second, and Matt brings up a point here, which I think is a valid one. She's not likable, and I haven't figured it out yet why. Matt says she comes across as fake. I don't know if it's her voice or the tone of voice or her structure. Like when Obama used to talk, it was so sing-songy and wonderful and great to follow along. Even Clinton had this charismatic flow to his speech. They were great orators, I don't know if I don't know what it is about her that's not likable, but it's something.
I don't get that at all. She gives these interviews. She seems very personable and she laughs along and seems genuine to me. I don't see.
I don't know.
Even if she wasn't, it's leagues beyond. I mean, it's like I get that there's this double standard of the Democrats have to put up a 100% perfect, flawless candidate, but the Republicans have Trump, and he's flawed beyond recognition. And that's okay, but the Democrats, it has to be 100%, or we can't vote for it. It's like,
no, it's a valid.
Democrats can't be perfect. Nobody's going to be perfect.
You're making a valid point. She gets criticized, and he gets a pass.
Yeah,
across the board
on everything.
Yeah,
no matter what he says, it could be the worst thing.
Yeah,
it's unbelievable what he gets away with.
And I want to just put it out there. I'm not picking on her for any particular reason. I'm saying, to Frank's point, she should be running away with this, and it's still way too close.
Which boggles my mind.
Which tells me there's something there that makes her unlikable, that people don't want to fully commit to her.
It's not what it is. It really isn't. It's people. Once people have dug their heels in to supporting him, it's how many people are going to change their minds just like that. It's once they're dug in, so I get it's the same interview that I'm thinking of. The guy goes, there's a matter of pride and admitting that you're wrong and changing, that you don't want to hurt your pride. Like at the end of the day, you're like, no, I'm sticking with my guy because this is what I chose. And that's it. It's like switching favorite baseball teams. You're not going to do it because you have you're like, no, I gotta stick with my team even though they're terrible. It's for some, but this is on a magnified 100 times. It's like I'm going to stick with my guy. I'll give him a pass on this, and then another thing happens. I'll give him a pass on that. Another thing happens, and it's like there's nobody else. You can't. I mean, if I were a Republican leader, I'd be like, I get everybody together and be like, guys, this is the guy. I mean, we have to have some kind of. There's got to be some kind of
Well, the
dignity left in
Republicans
his
hate him.
office.
No, the Republicans hate him.
Which
Lindsey
also
Graham
boggles my mind. It's like, well, then okay, let's get rid of him and put someone up there with some dignity and some class.
They can't. They just can't. Lindsey
Why?
Graham the other day came out and said that he's been working so hard in the Middle East and that he has one last chance to get this stuff done before Trump gets back into the White House. He said it in an interview.
Say that again. I'm sorry. Say it again.
Lindsey Graham has been working on getting the Middle East to a peaceful state, like to get a ceasefire in there. Like he's been one of the American people, along with the Secretary of State and everybody else, like working on, finding a peaceful solution between Palestine, the Iranians, Israel, all that.
Okay.
He said in an interview the other day that the window for him to accomplish what he set out to do is closing, and that he has to get it done while Biden is still in office, because once Trump comes in office, he won't have a chance. He won't have a crack at it anymore. And
Lindsey Graham said this.
Lindsey Graham said this in an interview the other day.
So what the fuck is he supporting him for?
Well, on top of that literally everybody who worked in his administration is against him, like from Milley all the way down to Bill Barr to everybody. There are like an insane amount of Republicans who are like, this guy's not, they talk about the Democrats and the rhetoric and all that. It's the Republicans that are saying he is not fit for office and you cannot vote for him.
But they back him every time there's a mic in their face. It's he's our guy. He's our guy.
Well, it's a crazy cult thing. I saw a video of two people arguing over this, and one woman, I don't know where this was, but this woman was like, you just have to trust in him. And the other lady was like, why? She's like, we have a lot of problems in it. She's like, and she goes to the woman, she goes, how is he going to fix it? And she goes, I don't know. You just have to trust that he can do it. And I'm like,
that is crazy. He's giving you no indication that he can fix anything. He's openly in the debate. I have, what was it? Something of a plan. Remember, it was like, a plan for healthcare.
Oh yeah, what do you say? Not a portion of a plan. I have.
I can't remember the phrase. The stupid phrase. It's like I have inklings of a plan, or whatever the heck it was. And it's like, well, that's just no. He has no plan for anything. He just wants to get in office and then play golf every other day. That's what he wants to do.
Concepts of a plan. Well, did you hear this?
Concepts of a plan. Thank you, Justice.
Did you hear this latest thing that he's going to bring in Elon Musk to trim the fat on the federal government? And they were like, the interviewer was like, well, why? What does he have? And he's like, well, he's just really good at that. He's just really good at that. And I'm like, this guy's burying X right now. The usage is down in an election year. It's just a cesspool of horseshit on that social media network. And he's going to bring him on to, and he's like, we're going to create a new, because the interviewer was like, I forget it was Fox, I think. And they were like, well, he's going to have a cabinet position? He's like, no, he doesn't have time for a cabinet position. He's just going to do it and then go back to his regular businesses. I'm like, oh, great. So the guy in charge of trimming the government is part-time now? Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah. He said part-timer. We're just going to bring him in, fire everybody, and then he leaves.
Yeah. He's going to come in Mondays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays from 10 to 6. And he's going to get everything done in the first 3 months. Right. I mean, honestly,
hourly.
And Frank, this to an annoying degree to you. I've defended Republicans, to be fair, where I saw fit, and it is I've stopped. There's no place for me to do that anymore. There's no room in it anymore. Here, let's start with this. This is the first thing that really set off a lot of alarms that I wanted to share with you guys. Trump talking about the people who don't support him having to be handled by the military. This comes from Fox News.
Do you believe that? Is the enemy from within, not even the people that have come in and destroying our country. By the way, totally destroying our country. The towns, the villages, they're being inundated. But I don't think they're the problem in terms of election day. I think the bigger problem are the people from within. We have some very bad people. We have some sick people, radical left lunatics. And I think they're and it should be very easily handled by, if necessary, by National Guard, or if really necessary, by the military, because they can't let that happen. I think the big.
I mean, there's no misinterpretation here, right?
Well, I think that clip, she was asking about the transfer, I think, if I remember it correctly. I'm not giving him any credit at all. But what I'm saying is, I think she was asking about the day he has to, whatever the transfer of power is going to be. Am I wrong on that? I don't know what the question was.
Yes. No, you're not incorrect. That was the question.
Right. Okay. But yeah, in terms of like handling with, he just wants to use the military for everything. He wants to round up immigrants that, that's just batshit. You're going around. Imagine the military knocking on people's doors, pulling people out of their homes. That's insane.
Well, it's not even that. It's more like he's talking about people who are opposing him in the government. That
He's a lunatic with that. Yeah, people who oppose him. He's talking like a wannabe dictator, that he wants to go around and use the military against them. That's insane. How do you justify that? How as of someone who's voting for him,
how do you hear
that and go, yeah, that's fine. That sounds good to me.
It's the most we're hearing the most un-American shit coming out of him and his campaign and JD Vance. It is the most un-American shit.
What about this stuff with Bob Woodward? You hear about the book?
Yes, I heard about the book that he was sending tests over to Putin and
at the height of the pandemic, we had no tests over here, and he sent them to Putin himself, not to even whatever. He sent them to him for his personal use, and even Putin said, "Don't tell anybody because you'll get in trouble."
Dear Poots,
yeah,
good talking to you the other day, buddy. Enclosed are 14 COVID test kits.
I would love to know. I would love to hear the response from Republicans. Hey, did you know that Trump sent Putin COVID tests when we were scrambling and dying here in America? He sent much needed, hard to find, couldn't get our hands on COVID tests. He sent them to Vladimir fucking Putin. What do you say to that? I don't believe it. They'll twist their way out of it and say, well, unless I saw him do it, unless I saw him physically hand it to Putin, I don't believe it. It's like, well, I don't know what to tell you then. It's like trying to convince someone that the world is round, and when you show them photos of a round world, they'll go, well, I don't believe those photos. And it's like, well, then I don't know what to tell you. I could show you proof that he's a scumbag all day long. You're just going to sit there and go, well, I just don't believe it.
Here he is talking about what the Democrats are standing for these days.
They want to do things like no more cows and no windows in buildings. They have some wonderful plans for this country.
Did you hear about the no more cows?
No more cows and no windows. What the fuck is he talking about? What is he talking about?
I don't know.
I mean, he has people that tell him things, right? Like he's not. I feel like he's operating on his own, and you know what? It seems like he's a robot with something that hit him in the head, and the wiring is all screwed up, and now he's just saying random shit. And nobody has checked on him. Nobody has retooled the robot.
Here he is in Arizona discussing the people who live in Arizona.
Also, we have many Azerasians in our room. We have some incredible people in our room. We have so many that we just can't. But
Azerasians, Frankie C. Azerasians.
If Joe Biden or Kamala Harris said that, it would be the biggest fucking deal. It would be, oh my God, this guy has dementia. You can't even talk. He doesn't know where he is. He doesn't know what planet he's on. But no, Trump says it, and they don't say a word about it. Azerasians, yeah, that's just it's a creative portmanteau. It means you're from Arizona and you might be Asian. So that's what he was talking about. It's like, no, he's out of his mind and he doesn't know what he's saying. So I don't understand. And when you look at, I'm looking in the comments, and Deborah, southern border and billions to Ukraine, but no help for Helene's victims. That's, first of all, there was help for Helene's victims. They're getting help, and there was nothing blocked. And if you want to talk about anybody who wanted to stop funding for FEMA, talk to the Republicans who voted against it, against funding the government. The southern border, Trump had 4 years, didn't do didn't do jack shit about the border, and billions to Ukraine. Yeah, because if Russia takes over Ukraine, what's to stop them from taking over another country and another country? So we have to look out for our allies as well. So I don't understand why there's so much criticism for one side, but but people who support Trump can't turn and look at not themselves, but him, and go, well, this guy doesn't know what he's doing. This guy, yeah, maybe Harris or Biden's administration fucked up a couple of things, maybe here or there. I'll look at it, but Trump obviously doesn't know what he's doing, or he's just playing everybody, and he's just got everybody wrapped around his finger, and he could just get away with stuff. And it's infuriating how many people he's just got snowed.
Well, he's out to protect the Eurasians. It's a big demographic.
Yeah, the Eurasians, they need our support.
Yes, 100%.
Please
Also,
help
we
the
have many
Azerasians.
Azerasians in our room.
Azerasians.
Wrong.
Yeah.
Arizonans
was he reading off
was
a
the word.
teleprompter?
Arizonans was the word we were looking for. I don't know. I don't know if he reads. I don't think he uses the teleprompter. Because he does the weave. Right.
Oh, the weave. Yeah.
He does the weave.
So what was his name? Seth Meyers goes, yeah, he does the weave, while everybody else does the leave.
I'll never forget this. I've told this story before, but I was at a Thanksgiving function, and my cousin brought home this guy, and he was drawing on a piece of paper. You've heard the story a million times. And I was like, and he's like intensely working on it. And I'm like, what are you drawing there? And he goes, oh, it's an invention of mine. And I go, interesting. What have you invented? And he's like, rocket boots. And it was a picture of.
Wait, I'm sorry. Who was this?
This was my cousin's boyfriend at the time.
Okay.
He was drawing. It was a drawing of a boot with a pointy rocket. I mean, anything a 5-year-old could put together. It was on it, and he was working on it like it was the next great invention. And I just looked at this guy and I go, we have to protect people like this. This is not. There's a serious devoid of intelligence here, and that's what I'm getting. But here's the thing.
Was Wile E. Coyote wearing the boots?
Yeah, right. Here's what's alarming to me is because I feel, and I've been talking about this for 2 weeks now, and I think even though she's unlikable, even though I don't know why she's not doing better in the polls, I think we're going to start to see her doing better in the polls. I think we're going to see some movement in the next couple of weeks. I don't think he has a chance of winning. I think it's going to be close. Listen,
I hope you're right.
I think it's going to be close. But again, from the amount of Republicans that, and I'm not, it's not a lot. I don't want to make big people, but when I talk to people that I know that are Republicans, they are fed up, and they're all saying, "I don't know if I can go into the thing and pull the lever for him this time around."
The guys, everything. I mean, I can't point to one thing where I go, "Well, at least this." His Trump Bibles were made in China. That just came out as well. He's got these God Bless the USA Bibles or whatever they're called, and it's got the Constitution in it and the Declaration of Independence and the Bible, made in China. And it's like, well, what do you? The guy's obviously a fraud. He doesn't believe America first. He's not going to pay. He's not going to make his stuff in America. Everything he makes comes from China. So he's lying. Whenever he opens his mouth and tries to convince you of something, it's the exact opposite is what he's doing.
I think he's just giving a lot of people a false sense of security at this point. Like he says a lot of nice things that sound nice, like China tariffs and drill baby drill, and I'm going to bring the
Asian.
prices Azerasians, and all these things. And I think for people, I talked about this with J-Subs last time around. J-Subs does not have time for politics. She's a wife. She's a mother of 2, right? She's got those kids in and out every day. She works. She does the podcast. She does the work with Star Legacy. Like, her schedule is jam-packed, as a lot of people's schedules are. They don't have the time to read and do, like, like the amount of time I spend reading is just endless amount of, like, my wife goes, "What do you do?" I go, "I'm reading." What now? Like, she just can't get over how much I read and consume. 99% of people don't have that time. They don't have that time. They get the little sound bite on their feed, on the whatever social feed they have,
Well, even if you're going off of sound bites, I mean, his sound bites are batshit.
Yeah, but in the world that we live in now, if you like him, you're only probably going to hear positive stuff.
That's true. You're tuning into 1 or 2 places, and they're giving you all the positives. Which, please help me out on what the positives are. I'd love to hear them. I have nothing on
Well,
that.
listen, again, to be fair, I don't know if the Biden and Harris administration were great on the border for that first 1 to 2 to 3 years. It seems like they've tightened things up, and things have, we know things have improved. They say that the border crossings are down to the levels that they were at when Trump left, which was at the lowest levels during the pandemic. Obviously, people were not crossing. Right. So they're saying now that those crossings have come down, but they were pretty wide open in the beginning. And I don't know if they handled that the best. All right. I'll say that. And I think that's a fair critique. No president is going to get everything right 100% of the time. That was their fuck up. Accept it. I mean, that's for me, that if that's what you have, okay, that's a pretty big mistake.
Well, you could point to that all day long, but when it comes down to it, they had a bipartisan bill in place that they were going to pass to fund border security, billions of dollars to get down there, and the Republicans were told by Trump to vote against it. So he doesn't care about fixing the border. He cares about running on the problem, and that's they had an opportunity to come together and say, we're going to solve this thing together, and we're going to work together on it. But they followed their leader, Trump. Trump said, nope, shoot it down, because what am I going to run on? Imagine if they would have voted that through. What would he have to talk about?
Oh, he would have nothing. Which, by the way, credit Biden. I mean, he may not know what room he's in, but he was always great at bringing right and left together. He was a big-time moderate. That's what people valued about him the most. Here's the other problem that Trump is running into. The jobs numbers were through the roof. The stock market hit an all-time high today.
Yeah.
Inflation and interest rates are at their lowest ever. Everything is moving in the right direction for the Democrats, and it hasn't changed his messaging at all. He's still just saying crazy shit. Like, everything is pointing to what, again, besides the border, basically a majority of everything else, not 100%, but let's give them credit at 70% of what this administration is trying to accomplish, they seem to be getting done.
Yeah, they're working on stuff to get it done against an opposition that just vehemently does not want to get anything done with it, or work together.
Yeah.
So
because we talk about 401k and stock and everything, and I look at my 401k and it's doing really good these last couple of months.
Exactly.
Gas prices have come down. I mean, at least in New York, they've come down quite a bit the last few weeks.
Absolutely. And it's like, you want to run on something. What are they supporting? They know the problem. If it's the border, they tried to fix. They tried to get funding down there. Plus, they're stopping fentanyl at a record rate. It's not like they're doing nothing down there. They're seizing more fentanyl than they ever have. And it's like, well, what's his name? Trump is taking credit for stuff that he didn't do. The stuff with insulin, he said, oh, I did that. It's like, no, you didn't do that. So, the capping insulin at $35. He didn't do that. So he's just, nothing he's done has helped anybody.
Lindarella's Dogecoin is up. I didn't know that. I got some Dogecoin lying around. I got to check.
Hey, Doge, nice.
Yeah. We can
Bring
bring
a
a
word I haven't heard in a while.
I know. Remember? There was a time where everybody was like, did you get that Dogecoin? You got some Dogecoin going on? Just make sure you get that Dogecoin. Here's another clip from Fox News. And I don't quite understand this, but Trump is going to go play Madison Square Garden. Here he is on Fox discussing this.
Can't hear it.
Oh, you can't hear it?
No.
Oh, son of a bitch. Oh, wait, hold on. Frank, that's because I have to put it on the air.
That makes sense.
You know what I'm saying? I got to put it where the people can see it.
That's fair.
I queued it up, and now we're going to have to sit through an ad. Oh, my good Lord. Jesus.
Oh, God. I wonder what it's going to be for.
Oh, I hope it's something that helps you pee at night.
Ooh.
Oh, are we going to get lucky? No. No.
Call power what it is.
No.
It's not.
Laptop deals. Is that what it is?
Laptop deal. All right. Maybe I could use that with
February that you were going
my
to
camera and my
Madison
microphone
Square
network.
Garden for a rally.
Yeah.
And now you're going to do it at the end of October.
Not only Madison Square Garden, we're taking 4 or 5 arenas. We fill them up very fast. As you know, we took where the Islanders play in Long Island. We had, I guess, 23,000 people, and we could have sold it out literally 3 times. We had thousands of people. We had tens of thousands of people that couldn't get in. We put screens on the outside of the building so they could see it.
By the way, he played the Nassau Coliseum. The Islanders play UBS Arena. I'm sorry. That wasn't intentional, but I'm a fan. I can't let that one. I couldn't let that one go.
Right. They used to play at the Coliseum.
He used to play there. Yeah. But anyway, here he is.
But that was incredible. And we just signed on Madison Square Garden. We're probably going to make a deal in Atlanta. We're trying to get the Atlanta arena, and we fill them up in minutes. And there's a great enthusiasm.
I think Madison Square Garden can only hold 20,000 people.
We're going to fill it up very fast. It's true.
Yeah. Why did you have to go back to Butler?
I
like the way you started, as I was saying.
That's pretty funny. That's an old radio gimmick, by the way. There's an old tradition in radio where you get fired. I was lucky enough to do this myself. I left a tease on a Friday morning, got fired 5 minutes after that show, and then 3 months later, when I turned up somewhere else, I did the old, as I was saying, and finished talking about that topic, which
well done.
It was always a nice thing to have. Here's what here's what I struggle with. I couldn't understand why he played Nassau Coliseum. He's not going to in New York. And I don't understand why he's going to Madison Square Garden. This race is literally going to come down to 11 shit-kicking hicks in the state of Pennsylvania. I mean, it's so fucking close in Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania is all that matters. The amount of money being poured into media by both of these sides in Pennsylvania right now is absurd.
Why just Pennsylvania? There are so many other swing states.
It's one of the, because it's so up for grabs. And there's 19 or 20 electoral votes there. It's just it's the biggest and it's the closest. Like the
electoral college should be gone. I don't understand why that's still a thing, but okay.
It's what we got right now. I know you feel that way, but it's what we got right now. So, but
that makes no sense.
Out of all the battleground states that we're looking at, Michigan, Wisconsin, Arizona, North Carolina, Georgia, they're all breaking in one direction or the other, with Pennsylvania just being one of the closest out of that group. And it's big because it's literally what will push either one of them to 270 in the Electoral College. So why are you going to a state you have no chance of winning in?
No idea.
Is it just to show your prowess that you could fill Madison Square Garden? Because I have news for you. That's not impressive. Like, I know it's impressive for a political candidate, but you're talking about New York City. I mean, there's been bands and acts that have no business selling Madison Square Garden, yet they put a $15 ticket on sale, $20 ticket, and they can get. I mean, it's New York City. There's 8 to 12 million people that live there. To put 20,000 in one place at one time, it's not terribly complicated for a free ticket. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
To go to sell out an arena when you're charging $250, okay, that's an accomplishment for sure. But it's not hard to paper an audience, right? To just give out free tickets. He'll give out. There'll be requests for tickets, same like at Nassau Coliseum. How many people do you know, Frank, that put out for tickets? Janine did. Like, there's plenty of people that are just going to request tickets. They'll put it out there, but they're not going to go. He's going to have a decent crowd. I don't doubt that he can fill the room. It just doesn't impress me. And even more so, if I want him to get elected, I would be screaming at my television going, why the fuck are you going somewhere that doesn't matter when you should be in Pennsylvania or Wisconsin or Nevada or Georgia where it matters? Okay, you want to go to Atlanta? That I understand. That makes sense. Go to Philly. You should be in Philly. You should be in Pittsburgh. You should be where you can make a difference. New York City is not going to do anything for you unless you plan on using it as a branding opportunity to be like, look at what I can do. I can sell out Madison Square Garden.
Yeah, but you're 3 weeks away from the election. This is a place you visit 2 months ago.
Correct. You're correct. Yeah, you can have that swinging dick moment 2 months. You're right. It shouldn't be now. It was 22 days left. It's 22 days left, and you're dicking around in New York City where you're not going to win?
No chance in New York City.
What is he doing? Then why is he going? What don't I know?
It's because it's his hometown or whatever. Maybe maybe he just always wanted to fill it. I have no idea. I don't know. Has he spoken there before? Ever?
I mean,
is it a bucket list thing for him?
Yeah, that was he at? I mean, I feel like around 9/11 they had the big concert there, and like there was a lot of people who showed up. I don't know if he was one of them. I don't remember. But then we had a couple of hurricanes, remember? And they duplicated the fundraising concerts at Madison Square Garden like they did for 9/11. So he might have been at one of the, I don't really know. It's possible he has done it in his career. But even that, it wouldn't be people going there for him. I think he just.
I think someone said to him, floated the idea of Madison Square Garden, and he heard the words Madison Square Garden. It's because it's such a legendary place. He's like, yeah, let's go there. I think that's what it is. It doesn't, I don't think it resonated with him that he shouldn't be there in terms of it's not going to do any good for him. I think it just hit his ego. It's like, oh, Madison Square Garden. Yeah, we got to go there.
It's beyond me. He's saying all the wrong things. He's making all the wrong moves. And we're still practically in a dead heat, And again, I feel like those I feel like those polls aren't lying. People are saying they're going to vote for him, but my gut feeling is that when they get there, they're going to be like, "Nah, all right."
Yeah, why though? Why are you voting for him? He has every talking point is counteracted by the other side's. We're doing this better.
Did you see the JD Vance stuff? We put out clips. I don't know if you saw. We did it on Friday, but if you can, take a look at the clips. He did a sit down with the New York Times, and he was like, "Oh, I wouldn't have certified the last election."
Yeah,
and he said a couple of other things, and I'm scratching my head because I'm like, this isn't empty liberal pussy rhetoric that we're accustomed to from the liberals. This is. They're putting it out there for everybody. And it's there for everybody to hear, that they are just throwing the Constitution out the window. None of it matters. They're going to. That's why part of me feels like this. He's just doing all this to rack up the cash, make it seem like you sell out Madison Square Garden. That's another talking point for you when you lose. To go, how could I lose? I filled up Madison Square Garden.
That's the thing that always. I mean, obviously, a lot of things bother me about this guy, but when he couldn't we had all these people at our rallies. How could we have lost the election? It's like the rallies aren't your votes. Those not that you can't say, oh, we had 10,000 people here, So how can we lose a national election? That's not how that works. You're dealing with, tens of millions of people voting. You can't base that off of 10,000 people at your rally. We had the biggest rallies, so it's impossible that we lost the election. It's like, no, I did say erection. We lost the election. That doesn't add up. That's a silly, stupid way of looking at it. Going, oh, we had the biggest rallies. Like, how could we have lost? Well, that doesn't matter. The rallies, people, you don't have to go to a rally to vote for someone.
Mm.
The other Biden didn't have when it was Biden, when it was him versus Biden and Biden won. Yeah, he didn't have a lot of people. He didn't have a lot of rallies. Because one, COVID, and two, his side didn't feel the need to do rallies. It wasn't a big thing. It wasn't his MO. So
that's what I was saying the other day. They didn't give a shit. They didn't care. The country hit the pandemic, and it's like when you fire a really good head coach from a sports team. You're like, this guy's really talented. He's won championships. He's a great motivator. Then you fire him, and it's like, that's because sometimes you just need a change. That's it. Sometimes you just need a new, fresh voice in the locker room, and that is exactly why he lost in 2020. Had nothing to do with anything else. People were going through a rough time period. They can't do anything about it but vote for somebody else.
The left rallied, and more people got out and voted than have ever voted before, because they didn't want to see him again. And if we went by, what was it? Lawrence O'Donnell was saying, if there was no electoral college, he never would have been president at all.
No Republican has won the popular vote in Milwaukee.
It's insane. Why? How is it that the electoral college is still a thing? Your vote should matter, not the electoral college vote. If you win a state, it should be based on the number of votes you got in that state. That's it, not the number of electoral college votes. That doesn't make any sense. Majority rules. It's over. The majority of the votes win. There's 350 million people in the country. That's the way it should be. That's how we count the votes. It should be just majority wins. End of story. You all right? All right.
Give me a second here, Frankie. Talk to the people. Tell them what's going.
Yeah, I don't know if they want to hear me go on about the electoral college, but it doesn't make sense anymore. It was put in place when the country was founded, and it was put there to. I was watching Lawrence O'Donnell, and he was saying this is what the electoral college was put in place for. It was put in place so that if the people voting screw up, the electoral college will come in and vote for the right person that should win according to them. So that's where the electoral college was, and that's what we've been stuck with. So it should be majority of the country. Everybody votes. Majority wins. End of story. I don't know why that's not the case anymore, or at all.
Well said, Frankie C. Sorry,
I'm sure you heard every word.
I had to deal with a monster under the bed situation over here. Yeah, the boogeyman. Much like Trump, there's a boogeyman in the election. Have you watched Stopping the Steal yet on Max?
I can't do it.
You should watch it. I'll tell you what. Between Stopping the Steal on Max and this past week's 60 Minutes. Yeah. Watching the Republicans that were elected to count the votes, and they're in all these positions, watching how they were treated and their lives were threatened, and all these terrible things happened to these people. This guy on 60 Minutes, he was going on and on about how he ran for, I forget what they call the position of the person who counts the votes. But he was a Republican. He was thanked by Trump at a rally that they were at. He was excited. He was thrilled. He thought he was going to win. He goes through. They count the votes. He loses. And I think this was in Arizona. There's someplace where he lost in 40,000 votes. He lost, but it was bigger than Georgia, right? And the 11,000 down there. Mm-hmm. And the guy is just going, Like there was no, he's like the everything was secure. We have all the mail-in ballots. They could be counted and this or that. And he's just like telling the people, like, I don't know what to tell you. Like we did the machine counts, we did the hand counts. These are the votes. What resulted in it was they had to put metal gates around the facility where they count the votes because they were worried that people were going to break in and steal ballots. He subsequently lost his position because he ran against somebody who just flat out said, no, the election was stolen. Like no evidence, nothing to. And Trump has been doing this across the board. He's been moving his people into these key positions. There's some woman in Arizona who was part of the 60 Minutes piece, and she's going, well, you guys don't know what I know. And they're like, well, tell us what you know. And she's like, well, I've done the research. And they're like, well, tell us. And she's like, no, it's up to everybody to go read and find out for themselves.
In other words, I have zero evidence.
And she was made chair of the state. She was there at the RNC. She's now a go-to person because she's just going to blindly follow. Like, this is not the America that we all want to live in. Like, we want to live in a country where people just count the votes and tell you what's what, which is what we've had every step of the way, every election.
Yeah, that's what we've been doing. You might bitch and moan at the end of it. Oh, my person lost. Oh, my God, I can't believe it. How could that happen? But then at the end of that day, you go, I guess that's how it goes, as the majority voted. But this guy, he can't accept that he lost something. It's just a childish. Imagine him calling up Biden and going, yeah, you got me. Good job. Congratulations. Better, whatever. I concede. He'll never do that because he's a child. He didn't show up to the inauguration because he can't admit when he lost. He just can't, and it's something. He's an 80-year-old guy that acts like a 4-year-old.
Yeah, Paul says I dismissed that all as hearsay. I don't know if I did or not. If Paul says it, I'm going to believe him. I didn't. I mean, I feel like, I don't know, again, in the last 6 months to a year, from everything that I've been able to gather, this is what's been going on in these key swing states. And I'm just hoping that, again, call me naive. I just hope that the people that are in these positions do the right thing, just like they did last time.
Exactly. Just be honest, count the votes. That's all we want. Honest, counts,
because you're going to get found out, Frank. I mean, it's not like there's just one person in charge who goes into a room and tabulates it all. It's exactly. A lot of people that are...
A lot of people. There's machines. There's hand counts. There's rooms of people doing this stuff. This isn't one guy sitting in a corner on it, with his legs crossed, with buckets of votes going. All right, one for this guy, one for that one for the. It's rooms full of people. It's a lot of checks, and there's zero evidence of any. If there was a dead, when they come back with dead people voted. Well, no, but what happened is a person votes, they died, and then later when they look at it, they go, well, this person's dead. Well, they died after they voted. Sorry.
Right.
Yeah, there's a few people that happens. That's what happens. So there's stuff like that when they say, dead people voted. Oh, look, this person's dead. They voted. No, they voted and then they died.
And early voting is down. Like, there's early voting right now in Pennsylvania, but it's down, which I expect it to be, and a lot of the Democrats are getting concerned, which they should be. But it's not the pandemic anymore.
We're voting early this year. Early voting in New York starts, I think, on the 20th. I can't remember the day, 26th, I think. So we're going to go in early and do it because we are away on election day.
Oh my goodness! You're not an American. We're talking about proud Americans, and you're leaving the country on the most important day. How could you?
I'm voting.
I don't know if that's real.
It's real. We're voting. You think I'm going to not vote? I'm definitely voting.
Speaking of the election, I don't know why the Harris campaign is rolling out this old pedophile, but Bill Clinton was campaigning for Harris and Waltz, and he showed up at a McDonald's, and the people behind the counter had no idea who the fuck he was.
Oh boy.
The woman goes, "Are you?" She thought he was Joe Biden.
Well, all right. Yeah,
She had
All
no
right.
idea.
That's funny.
He goes on Bill. She goes, "Oh, Bill," but she couldn't remember. She still couldn't remember his name was Bill Clinton. And she goes, "This is Bill."
Hey guys, it's Bill.
It kind of makes me happy that these people do not know who this is. That actually kind of makes me very, very happy because
I'm fine with that.
he shouldn't be remembered.
So, get some other people walking around, please. Can we get some, get Buttigieg walking around or something?
Oh, Buttigieg is good. That guy, he's good.
That guy's a gem. I want to see him president one day.
Garth Brooks, Frankie C, did something pretty interesting. He refiled his lawsuit against the woman who claims that she R'd him.
Okay.
And when he refiled under her real name.
What?
Which is basically unheard of. Like, you never, ever, ever, for legal reasons, reveal the name of the victim of a sexual crime, because you can get in a lot of trouble for that. And he filed a lawsuit against her before she filed the lawsuit against him. And when he did it, he filed it under Jane Doe status. When she filed her lawsuit, she filed under Jane Roe, same thing as Jane Doe. She didn't want her name to be known. He then pulled his, refiled the lawsuit, and named her name as, from what experts are saying, just a clear way to out her and get her to be, I don't know, nervous about coming forward as to what she is alleging happened between her and Garth Brooks. So there's not a huge update there, but again, I've never really seen this where somebody who was accused outed, their accuser. I don't know if I've ever seen that before. And I mean, I'm sure it's happened, but
yeah, I didn't know if that was. I mean, I guess it's legal because he did it.
Well, you can file a lawsuit against anybody, but it's a kind of a petty move and not a great move. Like, all the outlets that reported on this are still not sharing her name because it's policy not to report on the name of a sexual abuse victim. Yeah, right. And we're not going to share her name either. Even though I'm looking at it. But for him to do that, it's kind of a bizarre move, if you ask me, right?
Yeah, it is. It's a weird. I mean, I don't know how this is going to go. Like, so they're suing each other. See, what always gets me is like this happens, and then my frustration is that this won't come back. This won't be brought into courtroom for like months. It's like, I know they have to get everything, their ducks in a row, but let's, like the Diddy thing. His trial probably won't be till the middle of next year, I think, right?
Yeah. It's going to be April, May.
Yeah. So it's like, oh, I wish they could just get to it. It's like when you go to a restaurant, you order your meal, you want your meal like right as soon as you say it. That's, you want this to happen. Strike while the iron's hot, like this. Oh my God, let's get to the bottom of this right now, please. You brought this up. Now all of a sudden, now it's like, hey, look, everybody, look at this. Now you got to wait 10 months. It's like, oh shit. I wish it could move fast. The wheels of justice could move faster.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. I can't believe you've heard of Terrifier. I never heard of Terrifier until today.
I can't believe you haven't. Art the Clown, the black and white looking guy with the crazy face with the teeth and everything. You never saw that costume?
Nope.
Do you know the costume I'm talking about? Do you know the way the guy looks?
I'm looking at a picture of him right now, and no, I don't.
You've never seen that before.
I don't believe I've seen this before.
Yeah, there's been 2 Terrifier movies already. They're streaming on whatever platforms. I don't even know. But yeah, he originated. It was this independent movie that he originated from, and then they made Terrifier and Terrifier 2. And they're absolutely, bless you, they're absolutely gross and like gory. They're horror movies, obviously, but they are beyond gory. You know what I mean? Like just
Over the top, disgusting, bloody.
over the top. Yeah, very over the top, disgusting gore and grossness. So I haven't seen the third one. Apparently, is in the movies now, is in the theaters now. But yeah, the first 2 were crazy violent.
Well, it's interesting how it came about. This is what I find fascinating about this. I forget how much they made the first movie for, but it was not a lot of money. Again, it was a direct-to-video type of a thing.
What was?
The first Terrifier.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't know. There was before Terrifier, there was another movie I forget the name of, where this villain Art the Clown, was the villain. It wasn't called Terrifier, though. It was called something else, and that was like a independent, straight to video thing. I think Terrifier and Terrifier 2 were in the theaters, though.
Yeah. I think
I could be wrong, but I thought the movie that came out before Terrifier was the thing that launched this Art the Clown thing.
Yes, he was. Yes, Art the Clown was in several unrelated short films before Terrifier came out.
Right.
And yes, you're right. It was a theatrical release to 700 theaters. No, I'm sorry. It was a direct-to-video release that got then picked up and released in movie theaters much later on.
Okay. Yeah, they're awfully gross.
And then they came out with Terrifier 2, where I think they gave him like a $250,000 budget. The filmmaker here, what's his name? Damien Leon.
Okay.
And that one went on to do pretty well. And now he comes out with Terrifier 3. And what's fascinating about this is no other major studio put in any sort of releases during last week, or the week before, this week, and next week, because they were anticipating the Joker movie to just be dominating for months. So, or for a month at least when it came out. But Joker tanked so bad that it left an opening, and it's again pre-Halloween time. People are going to the movie theaters. So Terrifier 3 with $18 million at the box office is the #1 movie in the country over Joker Part 2.
Good Lord.
Yeah, that's how bad it is. And so it's like this weird thing of everybody's like, oh, the big Joker, the first Joker raked in over $1 billion.
Yeah, but the second movie got so panned by critics and the first wave of people that saw it, everybody thinks it's just terrible. I mean, I'll watch it when it comes to streaming, but I'm not going to the theater for it because everybody says it's not good.
Everybody says it sucks. It's like 30% on Rotten Tomatoes. It's just terrible. It's awful. And they, it's like a David versus Goliath story. There's Terrifier 3 raking in $18.3 million and beating the Joker. I mean, it's unbelievable what has taken place in movie business news in the last 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah, and anybody that wants to see any of these Terrifier movies, big warning. Again, it's gross. It's almost like disturbing kind of gross. It's very, very graphic violence. Very, very graphic. So, beware. You've been warned.
I don't know how you people watch these movies. This thing looks so fucking stupid to me. I couldn't sit through this.
Yeah, it's not great. But it's pure. It's pure violence. It's all, it's not like there's very little story. It's just there's a guy and there's people that he just fucks with. There's no real plot.
Yeah. Joker Folly Adieu. I think I said Part Deux. That would be Hot Shots.
That would be a better movie, probably.
That dropped 81% from last week to this week.
Oof.
It's the second week, and Joker lost to Beetlejuice, which is in its 6th week in the theaters. Yeah.
Still haven't seen that. I want to see that one.
I know. It was the biggest devastating thing of all time, not going to see Beetlejuice. But yeah, this is, I'm trying to think, when was the last time we had such a meteoric collapse in film from the first movie to the sequel?
Oh, man. It's a good question, but
Jingle All the Way Part 2? I don't even know. It's hard to
That could be.
It's hard to gauge it.
That's up there.
Think about it. The Marvels, I think, was one of them, right? I forget, one of the Marvels movies came out, ranked in $1 billion, and the next one came out, and fucking nobody went to go see it.
Oh, I don't know which one that would have been. Iron Man's did well.
Yeah,
Thor did well.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Captain America's. I don't know. Maybe Doctor Strange.
Oh, here we go. So Joker ranks as one of the biggest second week drop-offs for the superhero genre, plunging more severely than last year's misfires of the Marvels, which dropped 78.1%.
Oh, the Marvels. I thought you meant Marvel as in the company. Okay.
Yeah, no, the Marvels. Yeah. And I forget I guess Captain Marvel was the first one, and the Marvels was the sequel.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah,
I'm into the Marvel movies.
Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania dropped 69% in its second week. Shazam: Fury of the Gods dropped 69% in its second week, and The Flash dropped 72.5% in its second week.
Man, how do you take a character like the Joker and fuck it up so bad?
I don't know. Yeah, what do you think went wrong there? I have no idea.
I think, from what I understand, just gathering from critics and what I've heard, I think they went too artsy with it. And, they just got stuck in their head with it. And they didn't, like, you look at the first one, and there's a parody. Pete Holmes, comedian?
Yeah.
So he does this thing where, this bit on YouTube where he's Batman and he fires people.
Yes.
In the Justice League. And there's one where he fires Joker. And it's this Joker, the Joaquin Phoenix one. And his critique of the movie, he reveals his critique of the movie by criticizing the Joker himself, and it's so accurate. And I go, holy shit, he's right. Like, I look back on the Joker movie, the original, I go, this was not, this is a weird way to present the Joker. It's very, if you get a chance, watch, it's like an 8-minute thing. It's Batman firing the Joker, and it's hysterical. And he's critiquing, he's like, all of a sudden, Joker stands in this Pete Holmes thing. Joker stands up and hits a boombox, and he plays that song and starts dancing. And Batman's like, what is this? he's like, I'm, showing you my descent into madness. And he's like, oh, I didn't know you did interpretive dance. You are cool. And it's like, he goes, really? He's like, no, it's lame. It's just it's so accurately done. It's really good.
The Pete Holmes stuff is very funny. You turned me on to that. I had never seen it until you told me to go watch it, and it was good.
Oh, they're so good. Because he does all different. He does Street Fighter, X-Men, and Batman. Where he's in X-Men, he's Professor X, and he's firing all these people and on X-Men. It's hysterical. In Batman, he's firing all the people in Justice League, and in with Street Fighter, he's like the HR guy. And he has each Street Fighter player sitting at his desk, and he's like, we cannot justify the cost of the, he's the HR. He's trying to justify, like, he's like, listen, we want to do the street fighting tournament, Bison, but we can't we can't justify the cost of flying everybody to all these locations. Can we just maybe have it all in maybe Atlanta? We just get everybody in one arena. It'll be great. It's just so good. It's really
That's funny. That's funny because between all the fights, you flew from one spot
all
to the
around
other.
the world.
That's really funny.
And he's like, he talks to what's his name? Blanca, the animal, the green animal
The
guy.
green guy, yeah.
Yeah, and he's like, Blanca, listen, we can get you into the street in Street Fighter, but you're gonna have to fly as cargo. You're under the plane with the dogs and the cats. And he's like, and Blanca's like, what are you talking about? I booked a seat on this flight months ago. He's like, it's hysterical.
That's fucking funny. Fucking
Yeah.
Pete Holmes is great.
Yeah, it's perfect. It's so good.
He had an HBO show for a little while, and that was really funny. He doesn't get a lot of credit
Yeah.
for it, but it was really
It
good.
went like 2 seasons, and he had a bunch of comedians on that you really didn't know, and it was and he did all these sketches. It was a good show, underrated.
Yeah, John Mulaney was great. John Mulaney, you love Mulaney, right?
Yeah, Mulaney he's great.
He's really good on that show. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
All right, so check that out. The Pete Holmes. Oh, 2 weeks ago when I was sick, I was just putting movies on, just going through movies. When was the last time you watched the first Joker? Did you have you watched it again at home?
Maybe I don't think I have. I think I saw it once in the theater. Maybe I watched clips of it like on YouTube or whatever, but I don't think I watched it beginning to end since the movies.
Yeah, I put it on, and I mean, I was irritable and sick and annoyed. I couldn't. I had to tap out of it. I couldn't finish it. There was something about it that was so.
Yeah, it's not rewatchable.
It's not.
The clips, you watch these random clips on YouTube about it, like the action scenes or whatever. Fine, but to sit beginning to end again, it's like it's a bit of a chore.
Because I think the attractive thing about the Joker, even Heath Ledger's Joker, this ability of somebody that just wants to burn it all down, this carefree, there's an attractiveness to that for us because we want to see what it's like. It's like being on a roller coaster. We want to see what it's like, but we want to be safe while we're doing it, right? We don't want to actually see it.
Right. Plus, there was this mystery about Joker.
Right.
That's half of the allure. You don't know this guy, so you can't pin him down as you can't put a label on the guy. You don't know who he is and what his motivations are. But then in the Joker with Joaquin Phoenix, it's like his origin story, and it's like, yeah, I didn't want to see behind the curtain.
Right.
I'd rather the Heath Ledger mystery guy. You don't even know his real name. He's giving you all these crazy random backstories about his scars. He had this mystery and this maniacal way about him that you didn't know which way he was going to turn. And so that's the great thing about Joker. He's just this mysterious lunatic.
Yeah. Yeah, which is great, I like more than the Joker who's just like, I'm going to just see, I'm just going to let it all happen and not at least Heath Ledger's Joker had a drive to him. He knew what he wanted to do.
Right.
Like he would improvise, but he had plans. He knew where he wanted to wind up.
Right.
Whereas Joaquin Phoenix's Joker is just, and then when all the people just start blindly following him, and he starts build this. I mean, it's very Trump-esque, actually. It's kind
of true.
I don't know if we've ever, and again, I don't want to be one of these people that become obsessed with Trump, Frank. But I find myself just enamored with trying to get down to this fascination and this almost giving up of just this throwing the hands up and be like this woman who said the other day, she's like, you just got to trust him. I'm just like, what?
He's not the Messiah.
Forget him. No, but forget him. Since when did we start just doing things like that? Like, is this like a, I mean, how old is the country? 200 and so, like, are we hitting a certain age where in the country where we're kind of like going through a rough spot? Like, is this our puberty as America? Like, you know what I mean? Like, are we just hitting that point where, all right, we've had 46 presidents. We're rolling the dice now. We've come up, it just seems very strange. Forget him. Let's just look at his people and his followers, where they're just like, no, it'll be like, what other politician did we just go? Let's not worry about specifics. He'll take care of it.
Yeah, I don't get that at all. I mean, like there's nobody that has amassed this kind of blind following. Like you go to any politician, Nixon, Reagan, Clinton, Obama, you hold the standard has always been you hold power, you hold them accountable and response, and you have to question authority and hold them accountable for what they say and what they do. And if there's a scandal, usually that was a huge hit to them. And for some reason, this guy is like, nothing sticks, and it's just like nobody cares. I don't understand that how we got to that. He tapped into some weird cultish mindset that I just don't get.
But you know what? I've been coming to the conclusion of it's always been there. It was QAnon. It was the Tea Party. Like it's something that has been bubbling and building far before he came along, that like you just said, he tapped into. I just don't know if it was. I don't think he's the driving force. I think he's riding the wave. He's not creating the wave. I think that element of our population has always been there, and we're seeing just the worst part of it. Like even the Tea Party started out so innocent of like, we're done with these taxes. We're done with this and that, and this is going to be our thing. But there was that underlying weirdness of that movement of like, hold on a second. If you really want to get these things accomplished, you gotta play the game. You can't just be like, oh, fuck it. We're not going to participate. I mean, Boebert and Green and the other guy from Florida, they're still trying to do that. And it really isn't working for the most part. Is it disruptive and does it fuck shit up? Yeah. Ask the Speaker of the House who just got ousted. What's his name? But it doesn't bring along progress of any sort,
Yeah. It's a weird time. And we've got really just people that don't have the best interest of the country in mind, running things and looking to hold power. That's what it is. And it's a shame that more people aren't aware that they're being conned. That's the biggest part. Like, not the biggest, that's a big part of why he gets under my skin, because he just snowed so many people and they all fall for it. That's a big part of it. Obviously, the rest of it is the racism and the misogyny. That's just all on top of that's all mixed in as this awful, this disgusting cake that nobody wants to eat.
But we used to be so skeptical. I'm still skeptical of Harris. Like, I don't think she's gonna.
Yeah, I'm skeptical of every leader.
She's not gonna be able to do the things she said. She's got to get like it's almost impossible. Like if you can get to 5% of what you talked about on the campaign trail, I would consider that a success these days for a president.
Yeah, but she's not suggesting things that are impossible. She's suggesting a few $1,000s for
Sure, but at least she's being questioned. At least she's being like,
exactly.
There's none of that on the other side, and nobody finds this weird over there.
Yeah, and when they do question him or JD Vance, they go, well, I'm looking, like with JD Vance, January 6th. They go, well, I'm looking towards the future, and they just pivot to a different thing. It's like, no.
I said this last episode. He's the best politician out of the four of them.
He isn't, though. He's not.
Vance. I think he's the most slick politician. Like the pivot and turn a phrase and answer. Like I don't.
But it doesn't. The difference is he doesn't have that charisma, though. He doesn't have that because once he does, he'll do it. He'll pivot and do. But it's so transparent. You know what I mean? He doesn't have the tact to do it effectively. I think. Like he'll do it. He'll pivot and change the subject, but it's so obvious.
I don't know. I think
out of the point that there's a big spotlight on it.
Well, but out of the four of them, I think he's the most polished and slickest politician of the four. I think he's far superior and more well-spoken than Trump, Harris, and Waltz combined. Like those three have trouble communicating and speaking. He does not. You may think he's full of shit. That's fine. But he
just commands of the language.
I think he is so comfortable. He went and sat down with that New York Times woman. She was roasting him on a spit. And he was just like,
well, anybody would, I feel like, I think, what's his name? Walls is probably, in my opinion, better at, I don't know. He won the debate, in my opinion, Walls. I
didn't think he was that good in the debate. He didn't look comfortable. I felt from the debate I got, there's a guy who's been talking to Minnesota press for the last, 8 years, whereas J.D. Vance has been on a national stage being in the Senate.
I get that, but I think Walls had the hometown feel that he brought to the country. Like he had that charisma. He had that charm about him. J.D. Vance had the used car salesman charm, and Walls was like, your coach from Little League. It was friendlier and more. You felt more comfortable with him. I felt anyway. That was just me.
Yeah, he definitely has that hometown feel, but I don't know if he calmed anybody down or convinced them. That is all the time we have, my friend. Although I would be remiss if I didn't mention you will be disgustingly more older tomorrow than you are today. I mean, I guess everybody will be, but it is your birthday tomorrow.
I will have to add a number to my age tomorrow.
What are you, 76 now? 78?
Hey, 71, all right?
What are you doing for, I always ask you this because I want to know what not to do. What are you doing for your birthday? You got birthday plans?
You're an ass. Actually, Erin C is surprising me with something tomorrow. I have no idea what it is. But we're going out tomorrow night for a surprise, and I like surprises, so she knows that, and she planned something, so we'll see.
Ooh, little surprise.
Yeah, we will see.
What if it's really disappointing?
I'm sure it won't be.
What if it is?
I'll be disappointed. What do you want me to say? I don't know.
What if she blows this one? What if she just doesn't get it right? What if 47? How old are you? 52? Well, how old are you? 42?
I'm 10 days older than you. That's how old I am.
It feels like I'm far more vibrant than you are. I'm just going by what the people are telling me in the chat.
That could be.
Somebody write that in the chat, please. What if?
Thank you, everyone in the chat.
That's what worries me about birthdays now, because it's like, if my wife told me, "Hey, I'm planning something for you," I would be like, "What if we don't do that? What if we not do what you're planning?"
See, you don't know how to have fun.
Well, that's true. That's it. Let me check on that. Yeah, that checks out.
Right. Okay. Try to fight that one.
That checks out. That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
So I love surprises, and my wife knows me well enough. She knows what I like, and I have full confidence that I'm going to like whatever it is.
What if it's the cuck chair, the Comac motor in?
If it's just the chair, fine. But I don't want anything else going on in that room.
Actually, if she
hit the chair, okay.
If she bought you a cuck chair, that would be pretty.
That'd be hilarious.
That would be the bit of all time.
No, I have no interest to be in a cuck chair. But
just to put it in your living room and have people come up. Where'd you get this? Raymore and Flagon? No, the Comac motor in. Actually, they were running a sale. It's great.
I found it out by the dumpster. It was awesome. No, I'll sit in the cuck chair, but as long as nothing else is going on in that room, I'm fine. As long as I'm not the cuck, or participating in any part of that. I don't even know what we're talking about anymore. But
are you confident that she has something good?
I am.
I don't know if I could plan something good. Here's what I'm saying. I don't know if I could plan like when Cuddles turned 40, we went away for the weekend. that was, I feel like, my last great idea. I don't know if I can muster up anything else.
Well, you could think of. I mean, I have to walk you through how to plan a surprise. You just pick something that you know that she'd like, and you don't tell her about it, and you spring it on her. What's the
Well,
where's the
here,
mystery?
well, let me say a couple of things. And first, let me say this: we've known each other for a really long time, right?
I think so.
I was not consulted one iota on whatever the surprise is, which feels like I should have been a part of the party planning committee, don't you think?
No, you kiboshed anything that wasn't your idea.
Secondly, I'd be like, you know what Frank could really use? A pair of adult diapers, because I feel like that's the direction we're all headed in.
Listen, I got a couple more years yet before that happens.
Yeah. What's the matter? Yeah.
Everything is small and looks scary.
Everything looks scary. Okay, I'm gonna be in and go lay down. I'm gonna be in 2 minutes to put you to bed. Okay. Okay. Yeah, we got a lot of scary things in the room right now, Frankie. So I gotta go tend to that.
They weren't scary yesterday. What's the problem?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. It's weird. You wanna laugh your ass off? Friday they have this like fire safety thing at in our fire department every year. She loves to go. My son this time around is like, I don't want to go to that bullshit. So I'm like, do you still want to go? She's like, I want to go. I'm like, all right, great, let's go. So we go, we have a good time. We go through all the things. They light a room on fire. They put it out. It's like a whole fun thing for the kids. Afterwards, I go, do you want to go get pizza? She goes, I don't like pizza anymore. I'm like, what? When did this happen? She's like, yeah, I don't know if you know this, but I don't like pizza.
What is that?
I'm like, what is so? Just so you know, things are changing on a minute by minute basis over here with the kids. They're just
curveballs flying.
Yeah.
That's crazy. All right. Well, good luck with all that.
And look at this, Frankie. See, got the music back. We got the music back.
It's been a while.
Yeah.
Do we have the stuff you hear at the end all worked out?
It's all there. You know what happened? I call up Tim Waltz. Like, well, you could fix anything, can't you, big dog? He goes, I'll be right over. I got nothing to do.
You know what? I wouldn't put it past him.
He goes, I don't know if you know this, but I've been put on the bench ever since the debate. So I'll be right over there.
Oh, he was great at the debate. He rocked that debate.
Hey, don't forget, it is Stillbirth Awareness Month. All month long, we're raising funds for the fine folks over at the Star Legacy Foundation. Over 21,000 stillbirths every year in America, and they can be avoided by raising money. Link in the description below. We're raising funds for Diana Hope, Chase-Ab's first baby that was lost to stillbirth. So if you can donate this month, we'd certainly appreciate that. The link is in the description below. Frankie C., you're brilliant as always. I'm off to take care of some scary stuff in the other room. I will catch everybody on Wednesday. Have a wonderful, wonderful Monday and Tuesday. I'll see you guys in a little bit.
Show me potato salad.
Maybe we should go now. Go ahead.